Hello and welcome. Dajaho, Koinki Daja. My name is Dr. Brandy McNeil, and I am the Deputy Director of Branch Program Services for the New York Public Library. I am thrilled to welcome you all to our Stavros Niarchos Foundation Library for our very first World Poetry Salon. It is a new series offered in partnership with Limelight Poetry. And we'd also like to welcome those joining us online. We hope you will join us soon in person. This event is in part of the library's annual World Literature and Arts Festival, where every April, the library celebrates storytelling through books, performances, culinary traditions, and beyond, while shining a spotlight on New York City's vibrant communities. Please join us throughout the month of April to enjoy free events and resources for all ages. You can learn more about our events by visiting our site at nypl.org/WorldLitFest, World Lit Arts Fest, and that's nypl.org/World LITARTSFEST. Now, I know you are all excited to get started, so I am pleased to welcome Wayne Yin, founder of Limelight Poetry, to introduce tonight's special guest. Thank you, Shishi.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you all for coming and welcome. 欢迎大家来到纽约公共图书馆。I'm Wang Yin, a poet and founder of Limelight Poetry, a non-profit I established in New York last year to promote world poetry and showcase voices in and expressed languages. Nikola Madzirov was the first poem I thought of inviting. It's from Macedonia and is one of the most powerful voices in European poetry today. His work, the magical, miraculous, and deeply moving. Becca Stevens, a 2 times Grammy nominee, in performance with Nikola for the first time tonight, a special surprise for us all. Patricio Ferrari is a translator poet and a true language genius. When we met 3 years ago, before Limelight Poetry even existed, I already knew he was meant to host the future readings. I would like to take this time to thank many, many people. First, our 2 board members. Thank you, Xiaoyu. And thank you, John. Yes. 没有你们的支持，我们今天是不会坐在这里的。Without your support, we would be gathered there tonight. 也谢谢我们今天到场的顾问，我们 Limelight Poetry 的顾问，舞蹈家沈伟，是我很好的朋友。也谢谢一直支持我们的蕾蕾、她的丈夫和她的女儿们。I also want to thank the earliest donors of Limelight Poetry. Your support means everything to us, and we truly need it. 所有捐赠我们、支持我们的朋友，你们对我们来说太重要了，因为只有你们的支持，才能让我们启动、开拓新的诗歌项目。有很多朋友手里有一张纸大家可以看一下，上面有怎么捐，捐多少，大概是怎么一个情况。另外，大家也可以关注我们的网站Please stay connected with our limitedpoetry.com. A big thank you to the younger and passionate Limelight Poetry team and the professional NYPL team. Your support has made this evening possible. In the fast-changing world, I often wonder, what difference can poetry reading really make it? My friend John Mora, a generous student to Limelight Poetry, came from Maryland today. I end with his answer. A poetry reading can make all the difference in the world. Thank you. 谢谢.
After us.
Po nas. Еден ден некој ќе ги здипли нашите кебиња и ќе ги прати на хемиско чистење, од нив да го истрие последното зрнце сол. Ќе ги отвори нашите писма и ќе ги реди по датуми наместо по исчитаност. Еден ден некој ќе го размести мебелот во собата како шаховски фигури на почеток од нова игра. Ќе ја отвори старата кутија за чевли во која ги чуваме паднатите копчиња од пижамите, недотрошените батерии и глатта. Еден ден ќе ни се врати болката во рбетот од тежината на хотелските клучеви и сомнежот со кој рецепционерот ни го подава талечинскиот управувач. Тугите сожалувања ќе тргнат по нас, како месечина по заталкано дете. Others' pity will set out after us, like the moon after some wandering child.
Home.
Dom. Живеев на крајот од градот како улично светло на кое никој не му ја менува светилката. Па јажината ги држише здовите заедно под нашите споени дланки. По преобразбите на невешто со зиданите камења го криев плишаното мече, спасувајќи го од сонот. Денонокино го оживував прагот, враќајќи се како пчела што секогаш се враќа на претходниот цвет. Беше мир кога го напуштив домот. Гризнатото јаболко не беше потемнето, на писмото стоеше марка со стара напуштена куќа. Кон тивките простори од раѓање се движам и под мене празнини се лепат како снег што не знае дали на земјата или на воздухот припаѓа. Like snow that doesn't know if it belongs to the earth or to the air.
When someone goes away, everything that's been done comes back.
Кога некој заминува, се што е создадено се враќа. Во предградката зад аголот ќе препознаеш дека некој некаде оди. Секогаш е така, живеам меѓу две вистини како неонка што се колеба во празен ходник. Моето срце собира се повеќе луѓе, зашто нив веќе ги нема. Така е секогаш, четвртина од будноста ја трошиме во трепкање, нештата ги забораваме уште пред да ги изгубиме, тетратката по краснопис, на пример. И ништо не е ново, седиштето во автобусот е секогаш топло, последните зборови се пренесуваат како на косени кофи во вообичаен летен пожар и утре пак ќе се повтори истото. Лицето, пред да исчезне од фотографијата, првин ќе ги изгуби брчките, кога некој заминува, се што е создадено се враќа. The same will happen all over again tomorrow. The face, before it vanishes from the photo, will lose the wrinkles. When someone goes away, everything that's been done comes back. When someone goes away, everything that's been done comes back. Everything that's been done comes back. Comes back.
I don't know.
Не знам. Далечни се сите куки што ги сонувам. Далечни се гласовите на мајка ми што на вечера ме повикува, а јас трчам кон полињата со жито. Далечни сме ние, како топка што го промашува голот и оди кон небото, живи сме како термометар кој е точен само тогаш кога ќе погледнеме кон него. Далечната стварност секој ден ме испрашува како непознат патник што ме буди на половина пат со прашање: тој ли е автобусот? А јас му велам да, но мислам, не знам. Не знам каде се градовите на твоите дедовци што сакаа да ги напуштат сите откриени болести и лековите што содржат трпеливост. Сонувам за куќа на ридот од нашите копнежи, да гледам како брановите на морето го исцртуваат кардиограмот на нашите падови и љубови. Како луѓето веруваат за да не потонат и чекорат за да не бидат заборавени. Далечни се сите колиби во кои се криевме од дождот и од болката на срните што умираа пред очите на ловците кои беа повеќе осамени отколку гладни. Distant are all the huts where we hid from the storm and from the pain of the does dying in front of the eyes of the hunters who were more lonely than hungry. Далечниот миг секој ден ми поставува прашање: тој ли е прозорецот, тој ли е животот, а јас му велам да. А всушност не знам. Не знам кога птиците ќе прозборат, а да не кажат војна. I don't know if all the birds will begin to speak, to whisper without saying a war.
Separated.
odvojen. Се одвоив од секоја вистина за почетоците на стеблата, реката и градовите. Имам име, што ќе биде улица на разделби и срце што се појавува на рентгенски снимки. Се одвоив и од тебе, мајко, на сите неба и куки на безгрижноста. Сега крвта ми е бегалец што припаѓа на неколку души, отворени рани. Мојот Бог живее во фосфорот шкорче, во пепелта што го чува обликот на пресеченото дрво. Не ми треба мапата на светот кога заспивам. I don't need a map of the world when I fall asleep. I don't need a map of the world when I fall asleep. Сега сенка од класија жито ја покрива мојата надеж и мојот збор е вреден како стар семен часовник што не го мери времето. Се одвоив и од себе за да стасам до твојата кожа што мириса на мед и ветер, до твоето име што значи немир што ме успокојува, што ги отвора портите на градовите во кои спијам, а не живеам. Се одвоив од воздухот, од водата, од огнот. Земјата од која сум создаден е вградена во мојот дом. I separated myself from the air, the water, the fire. The earth I was made from is built into my home, It's built in my home.
Usual summer nightfall.
Обичното летно заноќување. Така изгледа летното заноќување. Прелюбницата излегува на балконот во свилена ношница, треперот на звездите што го пропушта. Гранче паѓа од клунот на птицата што заспива пред да го изгради домот. Еден војник го спушта државотно знаме со писмо од мајка му во джебот. И атомските проби во утробата на земјата тајно ги оживуваат мртвите. Некој во мигот тивко ги толкува византиските неуми, други преправа екзодусите на балканските и граѓански војни во името на универзалните вистини. Во фабричките дворови спијат статуите на учесниците во поништените револуции, врз складните гробови пластичните цвеќиња ја губат формата и бојата, обичните само формата. И во спокојство на мртвите од кои сме се простиле, не е наше. On the symmetrical graves, plastic flowers lose their color, and ordinary ones their shape. But this piece of the dead we have parted from is not ours. Во селото со 3 осветлени прозорци, една бајачка ги предвидува само оздравувањата, не и заболувањата, и брановите сврлат шишиња цело море што може да го впијат во себе, и стрелката од знакот за задолжителен правец покажува кон Бог, и риборот откинува парче од небото фрлајќи јадицата кон реката, и сиромашно дете ја бара малата мечка и планетата од која би сакал да потекнува. Пред прагот на убиецот со алиби, еден пердов се обидува да летне. Така изгледа обичното летно заноќување. Градот согорува во црвенилото на месечината и против пожарните скали чиниш водат кон рајот, дури тогаш кога сите се симнуваат по нив. That is what usual summer nightfall is like. The town combusts in the redness of the moon, and the fire brigade ladders seem to lead to heaven even when everyone is climbing down, climbing down and down and down and down.
What we have said haunts us.
Изреченото не прогонува. Им дадовме имиња на дивите растенија зад недовршените згради. Ги именувавме сите споменици на нашите поробувачи и децата ги крстивме со љубовните прекари извлечени од писмата еднаш прочитани. Отпосле, тајно ги толкувавме подписите на дното од рецептите за неизлечиви болести, со двоглед ги збрижувавме дланките за простување подпрени врз прозорците. Зборовите ги остававме од камењата, со закопани сенки на ридот кој го чува ехото на предците, што не се впишани во семејното стебло и она што го кажавме без сведоци уште долго ќе не прогонува, зимите се намножија во нас без да бидат спомнати. What he has said without witnesses will long haunt us. The winters have piled up in us without ever being mentioned.
Shadows pass us by.
Еден ден ќе се сретнеме како бродче од хартија и лубеница што се лади во реката, немирот на светот со биде со нас, со дланките ќе го помрачиме сонцето и со фенер ќе се доближуваме. Еден ден ветрот нема да го промени правецот, брезата ќе испрати лисје во нашите чевли пред прагот и волците ќе тргнат по нашата невиност. Пеперутките ќе го остават својот прав врз нашите образи. Една старица секое утро ќе раскажува за нас во чекалната и ова што го кажувам е веќе кажано. Го чекаме ветрот како две знамења на граничен премин. We are waiting for the wind like two flags on a border. Еден ден сите сенки ќе не одминат.
One who writes.
Оној што пишува. Ти пишуваш за нештата кои веќе постојат. А велат дека измислуваш и измислуваш и измислуваш. И молчиш, и молчиш, и молчиш. Како потопена мрежа на рибокраци, како ангел кој знае што ќе се случи со ноќта, и патуваш, и патуваш, и забораваш, и забораваш, за да се вратиш, за да се вратиш. Ти пишуваш, и не сакаш да се сеќаваш на каменот, на морето, на верниците што спијат со раздвоени дланки. And you travel and you forget so that you can come back. You write and you don't want to remember the stone, the sea, the believers sleeping with their hands apart. With the hands apart.
The eye.
The eye. Окото. Otvori go едното око. Хоризонтот, ево затвореното. Отвори ја школката. Осаменоста нема да избега. Камењата на дното го пијат времето, а мртвите риби пливаат кон сонцето. Отвори го едното око. Светот е мало и младо дрво на градилиште, а прозорците се реки на нашата несигурност. И отвори го небото, open the sky. Со едно око. Во дланките чувам дом, соба за молитви во болнички двор. In my hand, I keep a home, a prayer room in a hospital garden.
Horizon is in the closed eye. Open the seashell, no solitude will escape. The stones on the riverbed drink up time. The dead fish swim towards the sun. Open one eye only. Open one eye only. The world is a young tree on a building site. Windows are rivers of our uncertainty. In my hands, I keep a home, a prayer room in a hospital garden. Open one eye only. Open one eye only. Open the sky with one eye only. Open the sky with one eye only. Open the sky with one eye. I saw dreams.
Vidov sonovi. Vidov sonovi na koji nikoj ne se sekjava i plaćenje na pogrešni grobovi. Vidov pregratki vo avion što paja i ulici su otvoreni arteriji. Vidov vulkani što spijat podolgo od korenot na seminoto steblo i jedno dete koje ne se plaši od doždot. Samo mene nikoj ne me vide. Samo mene nikoj ne me vide. I saw dreams that no one remembers and people wailing at the wrong graves. I saw embraces in a falling airplane and streets with open arteries. I saw volcanoes asleep longer than the roots of the family tree. And a child who is not afraid of the rain. Only it was me no one saw. Only it was me no one saw.
Fast is the century.
Brz е векот. Да бе ветер, ке ги лупев корите на дрвјата и фасадите на периферните згради, да бев злато ке ме крија во подруми во роблива земја и меѓу скршени играчки, ке ме заборавија татковците, а нивните синови трајно ке ме паметеа. Да бев куче, немаше да ми биде страф од бегалци, да бев месечина, немаше да се плашам од смртни казни, да бев циден часовник, ке ги криев пукнатините на цидот. И брз е векот. Ги преживуваме слабите земјотреси, гледајќи кон небото, а не кон земјата. We survive the weak earthquakes, watching towards the sky, yet not towards the ground. Ги отвораме прозорците за да влезде воздух од местата каде што никогаш не сме биле. И војни не постојат, зашто секој ден некој го ранува нашето срце и брз е векот, побрз од зборот, да бев мртов. Сите ке ми веруваа кога молчам. And fast is the century, faster than the word. If I were dead, everyone would have believed me when I kept silent, 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 and silence. Hear the silence.
We have no sleep.
Ние немаме сон. Заборавени се сите форми за простување без допир. Мислиме на утре, хранејки ги лебедите со вчерашен леб. Од нашето сеќавање ни потекува вода што ќе накрани безкрај полиња со жито. И ние немаме сон. Гледаме како дождот совршено се повторува крадејќи ја правта и ние немаме сон. Не припаѓаме на ниту една ноќ. И ниту една свеќа не може да ги продолжи нашите сенки низ зидините на ветрот. We have no sleep. All forms of farewell without touching have been forgotten. We think of tomorrow as we feed the swans with yesterday's bread. From our memory flows water enough to sustain endless fields of wheat. We watch how the rain repeats itself immaculately stealing the dust, and we have no sleep. We have no sleep, belong to no one night, nor any candle can lengthen our shadows onto the walls of the wind, our shadows on the walls of the wind, and the wind on the wall has no shadow.
All forms of farewell without touching have been forgotten. We think of tomorrow as we feed the swans with yesterday's bread. We have no sleep, belong to no one. Time nor any candle can lengthen our shadows onto the walls of the wind. From our memory flows water enough to sustain endless fields of wheat. We watch how the rain repeats itself immaculately, stealing the dust. We have no sleep, belong to no one. Time nor any candle can lengthen our shadows onto the walls of the wind, of the wind, of the wind.
Thank you, Becca. Thank you. It was the world premiere of this song that Becca composed just for this reading. Thank you.
We're back together. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Nikola.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Благодарам, thank you, Shishe, thank you.
Dobra večer.
Dobra večer, dobra večer.
Once and how, good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here in this, and I'm going to use one of the words that you heard today from the Slavic, in this dome of words, in this house of words, in this house of millions of volumes of objects, 55 million objects, including volumes of books, autographs, photographs in the Stavros Foundation. So of all places in New York where diversity is celebrated, here at the Stavros Foundation, we do that. And it is an honor to be here to open this first event with Nikola and with Becca and Wang and friends and students, both here in person and across borders, live streaming from all over the world, not just the US, but in Africa, in Europe, in Asia. And we are thankful for their support, and we're thankful for being present today, because here we are bringing poetry back to its root. If you are wondering what lyric poetry is, this is it. As song, as hearing it live, read, shared in a language that is also ours, that is a remnant of another age, as Nikola writes in his work. We're here because collaboration matters. We are here because translation matters. And we are here because generosity matters, and listening to one another across borders, across flags, from all walks of life, and from all accents of life. And I would like to begin this conversation with Nikola's last name. Some poets, you know, have in their last names, and we'll get to that in a moment, a predestined prefigure poetics in it. And I would like Nikola to tell us a little bit about that last name and how that last name, in a way, embodies so much of what he has been as a human being and certainly as a poet.
Thank you, Patricio. So it's time to say thank you also to all of you for being here. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for your silence. It gave me a loud support for being for the first time on the stage together with Becca Stevens. We are friends for 4 or 5 years now. And thanks to you, thanks to Limelight Poetry, New York Public Library, we did something together on the stage. And without your support, it wouldn't have happened. Thank you, Patricio, for giving me time to come back to reality. And also, luckily, I'm still jet-lagged, and it's much easier to talk while you're in the air than, so we're on the 7th floor. Last name, it in English, last name, it sounds so scary. That means it's your last name, like it's finished. And but maybe that's why I write poetry. I trust in rebirth, and I think with each new poem we are reborn with each new word, and it opposites the theory. I think that mostly, like I heard that this longing for eternity. Eternity has nothing to do with being reborn. And my last name is Madzirov. The word comes from Arabic. Muhajir is the short version, Majir, which means migrant or people without home. Yeah, and my poem is home. So I know, again, absurd. And but yes, somehow they say nomen est omen, and I didn't know about it when I started running away from home in the pajamas of my father, and his shoes, bigger shoes, and trying to get lost in the womb of the city. And back then I only remember the name of the street, so if someone finds me, to bring me back. And now I try to forget the name of my street. My last name came because of my ancestors, who were war refugees from the Balkan Wars. When they say Balkan, Balkanized, it's always coming with war behind. It's kind of a layer of existing, unfortunately, there. So Patricio doesn't know this, but I'll share it with you. The absurd is when I start researching, when I found out that they were also refugees, And I said, why do I travel for 20 years? Like, in fact, I realized that my first trip was not, in fact, a journey, it was an escape. And as well as my writing was not something to leave behind an eternity, but it was just an attempt not to forget. So their second name, their last name was Stamenovi, which means stamen, something very stable. So when they moved after the wars, in order not to be slaughtered, because after every war, official war, there are unofficial wars that no one registers the cleanings afterwards, because this territory now has to be clean. Now all other nations, languages have to be erased. And the only memory that stays from there are personal stories. So that's why I trust more personal stories than official histories. That's why I write poetry, and I don't trust statistics. So the settlers gave them, oh, you are Madziri, you come from Middle East. But the language, when they said, oh, we have the same language, okay, we are friends, but please stay Madziri still. Some people without home, please. You are here, you exist here, but your memory doesn't belong here. And it became kind of a heritage. My ancestors were keeping the key in the pot where they were keeping the medicine. They really believed that this can heal their pain and nostalgia, this key of a door that doesn't exist anymore. And I inherited not only one door that doesn't exist anymore. I inherited many non-existent doors. And I'm happy about it. That's why I'm here.
And Nikola, speaking of roots, both personal and linguistic, if we take it to your hometown where you have returned after so many years, Strumica, for those who don't know, north of Skopje in North Macedonia, with over 6,000 years of human presence, of remnants, of traces. And what I was wondering, to slowly start getting into your work a little bit, what I found fascinating is that so much of your work is about dom, is about home, yet never in a descriptive. You're never describing, and when it does come, it comes in the form of metaphors. And what's really fascinating too is that never descriptive. You don't talk, of course, about specific places, describing them, but they're almost vanishing, fleeting, almost spectral, which in a way we're going to get to talk about German expressionism in a little bit, but I find that really fascinating for someone who is clinging to, and yet at the same time, rubbing against the present and the past. There's also memory in it too, which we'll get to. So Strumica.
Yeah, it's nice. Patricio pronounced the name of the city correctly, because many people pronounce Strumica, Strumica. So and we always, when I met Adam Zagajewski first in Berlin, we were very good friends, and I asked him, you were born in Lvov, and then what his answer was, oh, now I'm rich for another city of my birth, because I pronounced the name of his city in a different way. And I always feel when people pronounce, we come back now to pronunciation, to new names, when they pronounced names of the cities differently, like I think I'm more rich now for another place of existing. And maybe that's why when the invaders, when they come, first they change the names of the rivers, of the cities, of people, names of the people, and then they start talking about love and understanding. So places are important. I had a short, brief conversation with, when we mentioned German expressionism, I would mention one remarkable director from the German New Cinema, Wim Wenders, who likes poetry very much. He said that the places themselves are crucial for his films. He searched for a place first, and then the story starts. I think place is important for building the story, for building the memory. Even, I think the best psychiatrist would say to you, change your place first, then we can talk about your problems. And why I'm interested in fading places? Because the first time I started talking to my grandmother, who had an important role in my writing and in general. She was a cleaning lady in a hospital. So she was not afraid of death because it was every day she was cleaning after people were dying. And she said to me once, like, the home is there where the smoke from the fireplace is. But then I realized it has no logic. Like, in order to see the smoke, you have to go out. You have to escape from your home. This is the only way you can see the smoke from the fireplace. And that's what I'm doing. The place and the absence is very important. Leaving sometimes is more important than leaving. Return, phenomenon of return. It is important to call some of your places like place of belonging, a home. Because when we go as tourists, I noticed, you put the mark, you say, okay, I was there, I will not go anymore. Very often we return. When we return, we usually want to think that the place is the same, we're the same, but it's not.
And the voice changes when we return.
So, yeah, the mic also disappeared.
You want to end your
Maybe, yeah. I'll end the thought. Thank you, Patricio. So, I remember when, in one of the essays on Cavafis, when he returned to Alexandria, he also thought, like, oh, the city is not the same anymore, but in fact, he said, I am changed. This is important perspective. The absence is, I think, crucial to understand the importance of not only of the things that are missing, but the importance of your own presence. We mentioned about when you go in a library, a huge library. I mean, the first feeling that you have, like New York Public Library, when I visited it today, and so I said, I don't know anything. I haven't read any of these books here on the wall, you know, and then I will not write anymore. Then this is the first feeling. But what happens if you see that on one shelf there is a book missing? You start thinking about this book. You start thinking that someone is reading it at the moment. And it gives you hope. It gives you kind of wish and urge to return to your writing, hoping that this missing book can be yours one day.
Indeed, and when speaking about fading, or when you go back and what was there is no longer there, I, of course, cannot but think of memory. And reading your work And analepsis came to mind as the poetic of return, right, through memory, but never, time looping, never in a linear way, resistant time. And of course, coming from Latin America, you're all familiar with Cien Años de Soledad. Marcus does it masterfully. There's a lesser-known novelist that came to mind when reading Nikola, and I shared with him this book, La Lluvia Amarilla, La Lluvia Amarilla by Julio Llamazares. And this book is a monologue about the last inhabitant of a village in northern Spain, as everything is fading, including himself. Yet that very moment of fading is rubbing against the present. So the idea of memory resisting linearity, both the past and the present, it's almost a time, no time, a place of no place. And lastly, reading your work made me think of Maria Stepanova's In Memory of Memory, right? How through her aunt and someone in the past, she goes through diaries, yet the speaker finds themselves in a present rubbing against a past that is not necessarily a linear past. And so Remnants of Another Age really takes us to something greater than a past, yet of a given place. Which sounds as a contradiction what I'm saying, but I don't know if it makes sense.
We come to the point of Borges' Aleph, the idea of Aleph. And Maria Stepanova is a wonderful, wonderful writer. She's a good friend, and her book is magnificent because memory of a memory is kind of a meta-memory. It's the same like the translation. It's a meta-translation of our thoughts. First thoughts come into words and then come from one language into another language. And memory is itself. It's fleeting. It changes all the time. We reconstruct it according to the place, according to the mood, according to people we want to address. The imperfection of memory, in fact, is also giving us hope to write. Why I'm saying this, like the linear time was never challenge for me. Is what they say is like there's nothing older than yesterday's newspaper. So I was not I didn't want to use the word. I never want to use the word yesterday when, although I like Beatles, but also tomorrow. Somehow it's a friend had a grandfather. He said, "Oh, my son, what something that you can do it tomorrow. It's better don't do it at all." And this time dimension for me, like yesterday and tomorrow, was too close. I want distant, because distance leaves space to memory. I want the distance, and so the memory was crucial, especially when I was reading Marcel Proust or Joyce or Marquez. They never do a linear time. I would warmly recommend one film by Milcho Manchevsky, Before the Rain, that was shot in 1994. Also, time has no end. Time is kind of a circle with an open door. Memories are, in fact, here in order to reconstruct them, to use them to feel, let's say, safe. When we do something, when we try to repeat something, when we try in the best way in order to remember, then we enter the zone of rituality. This is what Mircea Eliade will talks about in his books. It's this kind of eternal return. Then we remember things. We don't remember things that we repeat, but when they become routine, we don't forget. We don't remember if we forgot if we turn off the light or, I don't know, lock the the door, and it's a different kind of body memory. Cannot be explained in poetry. That's why writing poetry exists more on the level of rituality.
And speaking about rituality, if we can take that as an act, but also as a metaphor, if we think of rhythm, right? Rhythm is repetition in time, and we break from it, and then we return to it. And it's in your work, of course, as in any great poetry, is full of it, and you do it in different ways. There's phonic repetition. You've heard that in his poetry, some of the lines repeat, right? Sometimes half of the lines will repeat throughout the poem. But also, and very interestingly, you do it through figures of speech. There is the simile, right? And
Yes.
so, which is a type of metaphor, and which brings me to say that time or memory in your work, unlike the novels we talked about, is not in the narrative of the poem. So there are no long poems. The poems that deal with time, and this is what I would like you, Nikola, to talk about a little bit, is through image, right? And the similes, and when we go back to Strumica, it's images, right? That wandering child in the moon that he opened with, and or the graves, right? Or even that boy not being recognized. It's a place, but it's not a place. It's spectral, right? And it's a return, but it's been veiled, and so it's the rhythm is right, return and broken. And with this, I will close. It made me think of Georg Trakl, right? The German expressionism, the song of despair. It's which closes with a threshold. And the image, this is one of the images that I would love you to talk about. There's so many different talismanic, returning images throughout your work. The home, the hand, the threshold is one. If you could please talk about that, and if you want to share that shared story that you share with Ilya Kaminsky once, maybe the audience would love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you, Patricio. I'm sorry, I have to be so personal because Patricio's questions are so profound. Like he even heard the interview with Ilya we did, and there was one image I remember as when I was a child. I saw an old lady coming. I didn't know what, because it was an image of an old lady in front of the church, or the threshold of the church, just standing and crossing, as usual. But you don't know whether she goes inside or go outside, because usually people go with their back turned outside of churches. So this image, then I turned, I didn't know. I didn't see whether she goes inside or outside. For me, this was an image that I don't want to write about it because it was too strong for me. I didn't know whether she belongs there. Maybe she wanted to lit a candle for someone that's not there, or just she didn't want to enter because she was afraid of eternity. This image is there. And why threshold? There is, I remember the story of my grandmother. She said every time, like, remember my son, because we come from also an earthquake region. There was a very bad, strong earthquake in 1963 in Skopje. Thousands of people died. And so she was preparing me for escaping. Like, remember, if earth starts shaking, don't run, don't go down on, don't lay down on earth. Just go to the threshold. It's safest there. Threshold will save you. And this kind of in-between spaces became my life, like the most safe places. This neutral, no man's land zone between two borders, because Strumica, as Patricio said, it's the border next to Greece and Bulgaria. So it's every day when I go running in the morning, I put the passport in my pocket, because you never know, you reach some border, because Macedonia is so small country, it was ex-Yugoslavia, so borders everywhere around you. But this zone in between those borders, so beautiful. I was saying, okay, you cross one border, checking, suspicious, they look at you, the passport, whether your eyes look the same, like they try to identify you, because usually they say that your real look is between the photo on your Facebook profile and the photo on your passport, So, and then comes this beautiful zone, no one's looking at you, no monuments there, nothing, and then another flag comes on the other side. And then again, the same process. Who are you, where are you going, what are you doing? So those in-between zones became my home, the thresholds of my existence.
And this brave man telling you the story of his grandmother and the threshold, I would like you to perhaps close, Nikola, with the story of the threshold before the hospital, when that line came to you for the eye, and the threshold that became the hospital room. He was the only survivor. He was hit with COVID, the first year of COVID, and we have him here today. But I would like you to maybe share how what that did for you. First, because almost as an intuition, the poem "The Eye" that you wrote, and then how the collaboration, right, with Becca during COVID, when you were in the hospital, happened.
Exactly, yeah. Again, we come to these spaces, zones where you are somewhere in between. I was in a hospital, so for a few months, struggling for each breath. So since then, I started believing that it was not the word at the beginning, but it was the breath. And we hear our breath now with this silence. And what happened, I was the only survivor in the room. So usually the doctors will come and bring this wall, on the wheels between two beds, not to see the other person dying, going away. So the walls were, in a way, kind of a metaphor for breathing and between breathing and death. I got many scars on my lungs. Still, I have them. And the doctor says, it's good that you are still here with us, because we cannot understand how you can breathe with so many scars on your lungs. And I tell them, no, they're no scars. They're just letters from an unknown alphabet. And they look very nice on X-rays. In fact.
And during that time when you were there,
Becca found out the poem "The Eye." I was not aware, and on the net, and she composed the song. I received the letter and the demo track when I came out from the hospital. So the song that you heard now, "The Eye," that Becca composed together with Michael Leake from Snarky Puppy, and was in fact composed while I was trying to breathe. And now we did it on the stage together for the first time. And I can say that this kind of connections, it was again a translation. I think she brought back the words to the music, because whenever I write, I think I'm giving the words, put them back into their home. It can be a sound, it can be an image, it can be silence. I remember my grandmother used to say, whenever my father, who is a musician as well, trying to write down the traditional songs, in order to remember them better, she would say, don't kill this song. Don't write it. Even if you don't remember it, just sing it. Maybe you will add another word. Make it alive. Don't kill it on the paper. And yeah, she was a lady that changed maybe 6 countries just sitting on her bed in the kitchen. I don't know, the kingdom of Croatian, Slovenians, and Serbians, then Yugoslavia, Federal Yugoslavia, different Yugoslavia, then, I don't know, Macedonia, just sitting and changing countries. It's, for me, was a phenomenon, this kind of existence. For me, was the most dynamic way of existence, to be able to be rooted somewhere, having in mind how many keys we have in our pockets. We have more keys than homes.
Grazie. Thank you so much, everyone. And please stay, talk to Nikola. Becca is here. We're going to meet outside. Thank you again for coming. Those live streaming on June 17th. We have Victoria Chung with music and Limelight. And in the fall, we have the great Colm Tóibín, Irish poet, in September, and a surprise in November before the end of the year. So thank you again, and keep in touch. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you, Patricio.